Going on, Jerome's beautiful Saturday. Birds are chirping and stuff, and it's time for another Vikings news dump. Yes, we made it tomorrow. Well, not even tomorrow. Today, there's football. Today, it's only today. Yay. That's right. Your Minnesota Fighting Vikings back. Historic U.S. Bank Stadium, the only preseason game against the Raiders. And, of course, we know what we're hyped about. The debut of J.J. McCarthy. It's going to be good times. That's right. Also, going to be good times is we're going to be live streaming the game. So Daddy has stuff to do later. But basically, we're going to live stream until McCarthy's out. It's going to be good times. So probably around third quarter, he'll give way to Jaron Hall or something like that. And we're also going to live stream Cleveland as well as the Philly game in 2 Saturdays. We're going to basically talk junk. A little bit of Q&A, and also all Venmos, Cash App, Super Chats donated during August, during preseason, will go to Every Meal Twin Cities, a great local charity that helps fill in some of the food gaps and food insecurities for the youth around the Twin Cities and the great state of Minnesota. We worked with them during the NFL draft. You guys crushed it, and we're back again. Goal 1509, feeling fine because Dallas Turner, J.J. McCarthy. Yeah, it'll be good. Also good is the hats. All right, so 50% off hats, purplefdw.net, code WEBACK. That's right, all through this weekend. But, of course, yes, number one is J.J. McCarthy. So, obviously hyped to see how he's going to do. See him in a game situation. And, yes, fully on board with Sam Darnold, the pride of USC, getting things done this year as a starter, as a bridge quarterback. And I understand, Tranquillo. Sometimes low and slow is the best way to go, but also he might be ready, right? Because you look at what C.J. Stroud did last year. Could McCarthy, with all the weapons, with a good offensive line, with Kevin O'Connell, with Aaron Jones, Ty Chandler, and the Flores defense, just be good to go? Who knows, man? But also, this isn't just a cakewalk for Darnold. Like, if he struggles against the Raiders, I think that opens things up again for McCarthy potentially going to start. But, of course, he could put things away. He could look great the way that he's looked the last couple of days at practice. Talk about practice. Even though Jefferson's not going to play, Darnold could certainly turn up and turn out and all that stuff. Speaking of Jefferson, so this is neat. Justin Jefferson, JJettis2, will join the Hashtag LV versus MN. Broadcast live from the sidelines for the entire third quarter. The game will broadcast locally on Fox 9, nationally on NFL Network. So you got Justin Jefferson, third man in the booth with Pete Bursich, my neighbor. I need my leaf blower back. But it's gonna be awesome, man. And you saw from the Netflix documentary, like, Jefferson's legitimately funny, right? So he's got that low key, personality. He said himself like he's kind of a quiet guy, and that's one of the reasons why he created the Jets persona, just to sort of amp himself out and amp himself up and be the showman that is required to be the face of the league and the face of the franchise in the NFL, and it's gonna be good. Also, I want him to get high. Like, I want. So his close friends on the team like Tristan Jackson and stuff. I want Tristan to have like a one-handed back of the end zone touchdown grab from J.J. McCarthy and just see Jefferson go nuts. That would be great to see. I love it, man. Also, there's some symmetry going on with the Raiders preseason game. So 10 years ago, the Vikings drafted Teddy Bridgewater, number 32 overall, 2014, to be the future franchise. This time around, it is indeed J.J. McCarthy, 2024 draft, number 10 overall. But also, Teddy's first preseason action was in the first preseason game against the Raiders at home. TCF. I was going to say TCO. That doesn't make sense. But yeah, TCF, a.k.a. the bank, a.k.a. the Gophers Outdoor Stadium. I actually kind of liked it when it was outdoors. Not going to lie, because is it a spot where the Vikings need to play in the elements? I feel like we certainly lost that just playing in the dome playing in a dome stadium since 1981 outside of the interlude at TCF for a couple seasons. But I don't know. Or at minimum, hey, U.S. Bank Stadium. We've never had the doors open for a game. Have them open late in the season. Let all the fans know, hey, the doors are going to be open. Dress appropriately. Just burn it now. I don't know, man. I don't know. But obviously, I love me some Teddy Bridgewater. If his leg didn't fall off, there would be a chance that Teddy would still be starting here. He's only 31. But obviously, I hope that long-term, J.J. McCarthy's career pans out a little bit better than Teddy. Multiple Jerome Bardys as opposed to just Also, big news that happened Friday afternoon. So the Vikings are absolute kings of big-time news on a Friday afternoon. That's what happens, man. But the Vikings traded 2022 second-round pick, number 42 overall, cornerback Andrew Booth Jr. to the Cowboys for Nashawn Wright, who is Mekhi Blackman's cousin, which is kind of awesome. Now, this is a bit of, hey, let's take our day 2 draft failure and switch it for your day 2 draft failure and see if it works out. And it certainly could. I mean, Booth could stay healthy and Booth could find a home with Mike Zimmer and company down in Dallas and have a good career. It certainly would be a very Vikings thing to happen. And also, I mean, Nashawn Wright, so Cowboys fans are sort of polarized on him. Like, stylistically, he didn't really sync up with what the Cowboys have done with Dan Quinn on defense the last couple of years before Zimmer came in and Quinn took the commies job. But he's tall. He's 6'4". He's a $185. And, he does have, that long physicality that Flores wants on the outside. And I think that at minimum, he'll be a solid special teamer. And I think that it could be a guy that could make some hay in terms of making a move up the cornerback depth chart. But we'll see. Vikings comms put out, selected by the Cowboys in the 3rd round, number 99 overall in the 2021 NFL Draft. Wright has appeared in 32 games in his career. He recorded single season best in total tackles 23 and passes defended 4. Passes defensed? Never seen that term like that. In 2022, despite playing only in 7 games, 2 starts. Now, most of his work has been on special teams. He's a 5-phase special teamer. And as we pointed out before, John Bones Fossil, great special teams coach, one of the best, if not the best, in the league, has been in Dallas for a couple years. And, of course, Coach Matt Daniels was his assistant for a couple seasons in Dallas as well as with the Rams. So maybe there was a good word put in there with Nashawn. We'll see. Also, seeing... So the Jordan Addison suspension. Now, a lot of people assume that he's going to be suspended at the beginning of the season. That's not going to happen, right? Because first off, his preliminary hearing isn't until October 7th anyways. And yes, he is facing a mandatory 3-game suspension because of his alcohol-related DUI. But the NFL generally waits until things get adjudicated. Now, could it be towards the end of the season? I don't think it's going to be. I think probably it's going to be 2025, maybe even 2026, depending on how sluggish the legal process is. But Purple Persuasion put this up. The Vikings anticipate that a suspension is coming at some point for wide receiver Jordan Addison, and expect the suspension to come either late this season or during the 2025 offseason per Dan Graziano. Now, not gonna lie, just strictly from a football perspective, it would kind of stink if the Vikings were making some hay this year, making out a little bit of a playoff run, and then all of a sudden in late November or December, even January, Addison gets suspended, right? So again, strictly from football, not having a judgment on the off-field actions or the discipline, whatever, but strictly football, that would sort of stink. Now, I think what's more likely to happen is probably in the offseason, there will be a plea deal or whatever. But the NFL, like, even if there's a plea deal or a diversionary program, they still will impose the mandatory 3 games. And then Addison will probably miss the first 3 games of 2025. I think that's probably what's going to happen, man. Also, I mean, Addison's look really good in training camp, man. I think that, he said at the beginning of training camp when he fed the local media jackals that being on the field has been good for him mentally, and I think it's a spot where he can just focus on that. And yeah, I like that he owned that he's made mistakes, but he also did that with the speeding ticket, and he's great when he's on the field, but he just has to stay on the field. That's really it. Also, looking to get back on the field. So yes, Ivan Pace Jr. gets all of the hype and the clout from last year, but Najee Thompson is one of the best special teamers in the league in very quick, short order, where he's Dan Chisena, except who can actually tackle, which is kind of important, man. But Kramer, put out there another injury note. Cornerback Najee Thompson on PUP and sideline all summer with a nagging left knee injury. Obviously won't play Saturday, but is hoping to be ready by the August 24th preseason finale in Philadelphia. Now, it's important to note that he didn't even say the Browns preseason game on the 17th. He specifically targeted the last game against Philly. Hopefully he can be good to go because special teams are better with him on the field. And I love Najee Thompson. I just love his attitude. Plus, he is a multi-sports knower. Like, follow his Twitter feed. Really big in basketball, really big in baseball as well. He's got some great takes. Respect him, man. I also respect him on the field. He's fantastic. Also on the field. Aaron Jones. So lot of talk about when Aaron Jones visits Lambeau Field again. We're longtime Packers great. Frankly, one of the fans' favorite players. Right? I mean, I'm friends with a bunch of Packers fans, and they were just devastated when Aaron Jones let go. They're like, "Hey, we signed Josh Jacobs. He and Aaron Jones are going to be a great duo." And then they cut Aaron Jones, and then they bring back A.J. Dillon, and they're like, "What?" Yeah. But Aaron Jones, on if he scores in Lambeau, quote, "I already have it planned out. I'm going to Lambeau leap to the Vikings fans front row," end quote. And you've seen Vikings players do that throughout the years. Addison did that last year in the ass kicking in Green Bay. But I mean, that's going to be devastating, man. Like, they can't really boo him, right? Because this isn't a Bert Favre situation where he went full Judas and knowingly just went to the other team. Like, he was cut. Right. And yeah, Aaron Jones did sign with the Vikings, sure, but he was cut with plenty left in the tank. And also, he took a pay cut to stay there the last couple of years. So he was a team player, and the team was still just like, no. Plus, they didn't even save a ton of cap by letting him go. But Aaron Jones still has plenty left in the tank. And so you can mark down Aaron Jones is going to at least have 400 yards rushing this season. The 2 100-yard games against the Packers, that's a given. And also, he owns the Bears, so that's two more 100-yard games. So at minimum, he's going to rush for 400 yards this season. Might not be any more, but it's at least going to be 4. Lastly, so yeah, being mic'd up and videotaped is awesome, but also it's kind of So John Grenard was mic'd up during one of the practices. And so apparently he's renowned to being a guy who works this isn't even like an out of shape situation, which you see sometimes with players in training camp. This is a push your ass so hard, and when it's hot and humid, and when it's hot and humid, sometimes you just upchuck, right? And I mean, some players like famously like vomit before every single game just because of nerves, just because of whatever. But I mean, in practice, talk about practice, John Grenard decided to have a little that. And then he got some quick pressure on Sling and Sam Darnold. If it was full contact, it might have resulted in a sack, but got around Brian O'Neill. Also, the clip is hilarious because he vomited, initially got down in his stance, and then widened his split just so he wouldn't have to have his hand down in his vomit. Maybe that's why he got by O'Neill. I don't know, man. But it's just funny things like that which make training camp or practice fun. So that's fantastic, man. But we're back. We are indeed so back, baby. That's right. Join the live stream this afternoon, and you guys are the best. You absolutely know what to do. Skull production value.